This is John Spolier. Today is March 17th. It is 5:50 p.m. This is an evening hearing session of the Board of Assessment Appeals in Room 2.
Great, nice area.
Yeah, I love it. I'm on the lower end, so I can pick one of the yellow houses.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll be a big guy. I was like, this is perfect.
You're learning a lot about the town and geography and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, evaluating markets.
Oh, yeah. Hey, how you doing? Good, how are you?
Good.
So, hi.
Okay. So what time do you go?
That's great.
What do you do?
Yeah.
I think only room 3, but that's it. Room 3. No.
Oh, it should be room 1. They just never changed it.
Oh, okay. You find out where room 3 is supposed to be.
It's close to here. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to go all over.
Okay. Yes, so sorry for the delay, just running a little behind today. Okay. Yeah, I'll write. No worries. Just letting you know that this is recorded. Just letting you know my name is Brandy. I'm one of the 9 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals today. I'm doing interior today, and to verify for the recorded line, your still number is 3 Great thing. And the property you're appealing is 60% Road. And you were the owner of that property? Yes. Great thing. The town has your property appraised at $794,000. Great thing. This is going to sound a little weird. Oh, never mind. No, you're fine. Yeah, I believe it's open up for yourself too. Well, just in case, we can just read it. Yeah. So if you found the subject to the assessment appeal out, great, thank you. So here's the opportunity by testimony to provide you with market value for your home.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm great now. All right. Hi, Ed. This is John Spolier. I'm one of the members of the Board of Assessment Appeals for the town of Fairfield.
Yep, hi John, how are you?
Okay, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay,
Sorry I couldn't be there in person.
that's okay. No problem. That's one of the reasons why we are doing this.
The way we are.
Exactly. Or at least allowing the option to do it that way.
Yeah.
So I will be hearing your appeal today. We're also recording the appeal.
Okay.
Okay, I just need to state a few things for the record and also to make sure I have the information correct. This is appeal number 44.
I don't... Give me 1 second, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm pretty sure that's right, I just don't
Okay.
have that number in front of me.
Okay, well, I'll give you some other numbers that I'm pretty sure you can get here. The property address that we're appealing is at 2025 Bronson Road.
Correct?
Okay, the owner is Edward E. and Carla G. Sheehan.
Correct?
All right, the town has valued your property at $995,500.
Correct?
And you are asking for the value to be reduced, or the town to reduce your value to $805,000.
Correct.
Okay, and Ed, you are the owner, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. I just need to swear you in here. So, do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. So, tell me about the appeal here and why you feel that the town did not get the assessment correct.
Sure. Now, do you have the packet that I sent in, John?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I believe I have the same packet in the same order. And so just a couple things to kind of, for context here. The first page, you have the grid of the change in value by neighborhood.
That is correct, yep.
Right? So I'm in Lower Greenfield Hill, and so the average, I mixed the terms appraisal and assessment, so forgive me.
Yeah, I do too, so.
Okay, so the average assessment in my part of the Lower Greenfield Hill here was a reduction of 13.7%.
Yep.
And my rate was increased 15%. A similar thing happened to us in 2015. And I went through the same process in 2015. I met with the third-party appraiser, did not, receive any adjustment, or if they did, it was nominal. And so I went to the town. I met with Colleen Daly, who you may know, and who I had known for a long time. And what I did was I provided her with, if you look to the second to last page in your packet there, I provided her with a number of comps in the area, and I went through all of their assessments. And at the time, my appraisal in 2015 had gone up, I think it was 27%. Everyone else was just flat to slightly down. So, we were successful in making that adjustment. So what I thought would make sense for this discussion was I went back to those same comps, because they were comps that we all acknowledge were just that, they were comps. And I, was successful in dealing with the town with those comps. So I went back this year to the same comps again, and those same comps averaged a reduction of 11%, as you see on here. And again, we were increased 15%.
Okay.
To me, it doesn't make any sense. I think it's pretty straightforward. So it's a little bit frustrating for me that the third party who did the appraisals, you know, basically just said no. They disagreed, and to me, I don't know any other way to demonstrate kind of the inequity in this, but the fact that we went through this we went through it 5 years ago, and were, you know, and I was successful, and then I used the same comps again, I would think that I should be tracked toward those comps. Now, what I asked for, and what the average here with my comps and in Lower Greenfield Hill are two different things. The average, as you saw, is 13.7 down. My comps were down 11. I believe what I asked for, I based on a value of $805,000, which ends up being a decrease of about 7%. Because I really do feel like the value I'm putting on the house is realistic. I'm not trying to be disingenuous and put a price on it that I think is lower than what I think the house is worth. So that's pretty much my story.
Okay. So I see in here that you have two sets of comps, it looks like.
The back page is exactly what I presented in 2015. It's really not that relevant to this discussion, other than the fact that I just wanted to demonstrate that I used the same comps this time as I did then, the same addresses.
Okay.
That's really the only reason that back page is relevant.
All right, and then I do see here that you have comps from 2000 with sales dates of 2015. And then you also have comps, it looks like here, from 2010. Is that?
Well, I had to appeal in 2010 as well.
Okay.
So, you know, but the bottom line, the thing that's really most relevant is that I used the same comps this go round as I did in 2015. I felt like that just to me seemed like the most logical way to look at this, and you know, and I was actually surprised to see that they had gone down so substantially, and mine had literally been the opposite of that. I was up 15 and they were down 11. So,
okay.
You know, and the fact that we had used those same comps before and I had been successful in the appeal, to me, just makes it kind of an obvious decision. But I'm partial, I guess. But you know, I tried to make it as consistent and logical as possible.
Yep.
And that was the best way I could think to do that.
Okay, so Ed, I have two questions right now at the moment. You mentioned in your notice that you are at least 1/3 of your property is on wetlands.
That's correct.
That's correct? Okay.
Yes.
And is it, I've got a note here on the field card that gives you a condition of 0.9, and it says stream/CI. So is it correct to assume that you have a stream running through that third?
We do have a stream running through, yes.
Okay. All right, and it looks like you have almost 1.5, you're just short of 1.5 acres of land, correct?
Yeah, 1.4.
Yep, okay, great. And I do see here that you did, you had the BAA change in 2014, and it looks like a BAA change in 2016, which would have done the 2015 comps.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't realize early enough in the 2010 to 15.
Yep.
I didn't realize early enough that, you know, we were overpaying in taxes, and so I appealed it, you know, back. So I got a year of reduction there, and then the same thing happened again, and so I appealed it, and here we are today.
Okay. My other question that I have right now, and I'm looking through what came through with your original packet, that you brought in on February 8th, as well as what was emailed on March 5th. Do you happen to have any more recent comps of houses? So something that sold probably within the last 12 to 16 months or so?
I don't. You know,
Okay.
like I said, I was trying to, you know, when I sat down to do this, I was trying to figure out what is the like the most consistent way to do this with what I've done in the past.
Uh-huh.
And so for me, taking the exact same places that we used in the past for comps, I mean, they're still here, right? And they're still relevant. They're still comparable. The properties haven't changed. You know, I mean, I did that looking.
Yep.
So for me, that was almost more relevant than what something sold for in the last 12 months because they've been used before. So that was just, right or wrong, that was how I...
Okay.
So the simple answer to your question is no.
Okay. So really, for us to be able to consider change downward, we need to have comparables that are within the evaluation period that were sold, I should say that were sold in the evaluation period. So from October 1st of 2019 to October 1st of 2020. All right.
Now, why do they have to have been sold?
Because that's how they base the appraisal model on, is based on sales from that time frame. So if you're able to send over some comps in your neighborhood that were sold within that time frame, maybe even a month, you know, maybe even November of 2020, we could take a look at those and make a judgment based on that.
I struggle with that logic a little bit because all of these other assessments of these other homes, right, all those assessments were down, every single one of them, substantially. And they were based on what? They were based on something, based on comps, presumably. And those have been acknowledged as comps for my house. You see what I'm saying? I'm kind of struggling with the fact that we're going to, I need to look at homes in, frankly, an extraordinary year of a pandemic year where behaviors were extraordinary and different. I don't see that is necessarily representative of what my assessment should be as it relates to all those other homes. They were assessed just like I was, and they were assessed downward substantially. I'm not sure why I have to find homes that were recently sold. It just doesn't make complete sense to me.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be argumentative. I just don't.
No, well, I understand, you know, your point as far as, you know, these are the same houses that we compared against 5 years ago, and then you also had ones that you compared against, 6, 7 years ago. Unfortunately, you know, that's what the state statute says we have to consider. For the most part, is comps that were sold within the time period the revaluation was done. So if you can, that would be great. You know, submit it through the BAA at fairfield.org. So when we do our deliberations, we can take a look at those with that.
And how much time do I have? How much time do I have to do that, Tim?
I don't know, to be honest with you. We're trying to get all the deliberations done by the end of March. I'm not sure, you know, we don't have a set schedule of when we'll deliberate the appeals. But I would, at this point, I would say the sooner the better. but I will make a note here, that you'll be sending in, comps to look at for sales from, the last, from like 10/19 to 10/20, maybe even 11/20.
And do I have to put them in to anyone's specific attention?
You can put it attention, John. That way they know, and make sure that you reference Appeal 44 so that they can put it in the file.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So here's what the next thing is that I will be, what you shared with me and anything else you send into that address with comps, I will present to the majority of the board at a deliberation session. We'll discuss it and come to a decision, okay? If the decision is to deny your appeal, you can come back next year and reappeal. However, if we do grant a reduction, you can't appeal to the board for another 5 years. So basically the next revaluation period. Okay, regardless of the board's decision, you can appeal that decision in a court of law, in the Superior Court. All right. So once we make our decision as a board, you'll be notified within 7 days via mail. Okay, and in there will be the instructions on how to appeal in court with your decision letter.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello, is this Charles?
This is Charles, yes.
Yes, hi. This is...
I have Jeff Smith on the phone with me as well.
Okay, great. This is John Spolier. I am one of the 9 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Okay.
And I will be hearing the appeal tonight, your appeal tonight. We're also recording this as well. What I want to do is just, before we start here, I just need to make sure for the record that we have the right information. So we are talking about appeal number 176. Is that
Yes, sir.
correct? Okay. The owner is Charles, is it Plager? Plager, okay. Plager, all right. The property that is being appealed is located at 1524 Bronson Road.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me just see here, and then I have, I just gotta make sure. Okay, so the town value of the property is $896,500. And the amount that you're asking the town to reduce your appraised value to is $635, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And I believe you said you had Mr. Smith on the line?
Correct. So I'm here.
Okay. All right. So Charles, you are the owner of the property, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So both of you, I just need to swear you in here. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment and appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
All right.
I do.
Great. Okay, so, tell me about the appeal here.
Charles, do you want me to present the appraisal first, or do you have
Yes, please.
want to say?
Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Jeff Smith. I'm a certified residential appraiser. I've been an appraiser for approximately 31 years. I live in the town of Fairfield. I grew up in the town of Fairfield, and I do numerous appraisals in Fairfield throughout the course of the year. So Mr. Plager contacted me to do an appraisal, and a couple of things I'd like to point out. Do you have the appraisal in front of you, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay, if you scroll towards the back of the appraisal, you'll see the site plan.
Okay. Are you talking about past where the comps are laid out? Okay, yes, I do see the site plan, all right.
It's probably like the fifth to the last page,
Yep.
fifth to the last
Yes.
of the
I do.
appraisal.
Yep,
You got it?
I see it, yep.
Okay. So, according to town hall records, the subject lot is 2.58 acres. As you can see, a significant portion of the property is a pond with a conservation easement surrounding it. Based on just an eyeball look, it appears that only approximately 35% of the 2.58 acres is usable.
Okay,
The conservation easement prohibits significant development and expansion of the house. The other thing I'd like to point out is that Bronson Road is a busy road, but where this house is situated is actually on the road that leads into the Oak Lawn Cemetery. So in addition to the busy road of Bronson, you also have the external obsolescence of the proximity to the Oak Lawn Cemetery.
okay,
So, going back toward the beginning of the appraisal, I'd like to just discuss the comparables and how I arrived at my estimate of value.
okay,
So the first comparable I chose was 1677 Bronson Road. It sold for $758,000 on August 3rd of 2020.
okay,
It was a Cape Cod style home, slightly larger than the subject, and it had a pool. The adjusted value was $720,100.
okay,
The next comparable I chose was 1351 Brookside Drive. It sold for $729,000 on September 11th of 2020.
okay,
It's the same size house as the subject. It's a busy street like the subject. It has an adjusted value of $721,100.
okay,
The next comparable I chose was 306 Sturbridge Lane. It sold for $670,000 on April 27th of 2020. It's a split level style home, slightly smaller than the subject, similar condition. It had a large finished basement with an additional bathroom, and it had an adjusted value of $627,080.
okay,
The fourth comp I chose was 1509 Brookside Drive, sold for $715,000 on May 26th of 2020. Similar busy street like the subject, similar conditions, slightly larger. It had a pool, and its adjusted value was $670,000.
okay,
The fifth comp I chose was 243 Sturbridge Lane, sold for $738,000 on June 17th of 2020. Street with no external obsolescence, slightly larger, similar condition, had an adjusted value of $688,400. And then, bear with me, I came to determine the value, I correlated, I have an adjusted value range of 627 to 720, and I came in at the low end of the range because of the cemetery, because of the conservation easement, and the utility of the lot being what it is. So that's how I arrived at a value of 635. The other thing I'd like to point out is the house was purchased in March of 2017 for $585,000. And there really hasn't been no updating. The house is as it is when it was purchased. And there really hasn't been a significant change in market conditions, in my opinion, since that time.
Okay, so if I can just make sure I got the right number, how much was it sold for in 2017?
585.
585, okay. All right.
And just if I could just add one more thing. When he purchased the house in 2017, it had been on the market for 338 days. So the house was finally lowered to $599, and then it sold. So, it had been exposed to the market for almost a year.
Okay.
Prior to the purchase. So, I think that the town's estimate is significantly higher than where it should be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Go ahead, please.
The other couple comments is, so apparently in 2015, the tax rate went from, around 600,000 to around 900,000, the assessment. And they appealed it because they couldn't sell, in 2011 they tried to sell the house for $795, they couldn't do it. In 2014 they tried to sell the house for $760, they couldn't do it. $730, they couldn't do it, and then they had it on the market for over a year. Nothing able to $650, $630, $600.
So I do notice here that in almost 4 years ago to the date, on March 15th of 2017, there was a BAA change down. And that looks like it was right before you purchased the house or your sale went through.
Correct.
Okay. I also noticed on the field card here that we do have 0.58 acres as looks like topo wet, so I would assume that's the wetlands. Okay.
Well, I also think that without looking at a zoning map, it appears if you look at the bottom of the field card that the 0.58 acres located in a AA zone, which is 1 acre, and the remaining 2 acres is in a AAA zone.
Yep, I agree. That's what it says on the field card. Yep.
So, anyway.
Okay. Mr. Smith, I do have a couple questions regarding the assessment, or the appraisal, sorry, with this here. And this is just for my clarification. Your comps for 1 through 3 are anywhere between 1.02 acres and 1.39 acres, as well as 4 is 1.06 and comp 5 is 1.0. However, I don't see any adjustments for that on there.
Well, that's with the pond and the conservation easement, it restricts the use of the lot, so the additional land that this property has is virtually useless.
Okay. Yep.
Even and I talked to the conservation department this week, if I were to tear down this house, I'd not only need approval from the standard, or add on to this house, I not only need approval for the standard Fairfield, getting approval, I need approval from the wetlands department.
Yep.
So if you want to tear down the house, and basically where it is, build a bigger house, it's not clear you can do that. And we actually know several people who are considering buying this very house and didn't buy it for that very reason, fortunately for us. I mean, so most of if you look at, as you can see in the map, most of the land isn't directly usable, and even the land that is usable is still much more restricted than most other lots.
Okay. Yeah, and I figured as much. I just wanted to get it confirmed that that's why there was no reduction on that, is because you were factoring in the wetlands with the comps. So this is more of the usable land
Exactly.
with the comps. And I just wanted to make sure that was the case.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. Is there anything else that I should know about to be able to share with the board?
I believe that is everything. I mean, so yes, again, just to summarize, most of the land isn't usable. It's very pretty, but it's not usable. We're right next to a cemetery on a road that they sometimes choose to plow and sometimes choose to not plow.
Mm-hmm.
And except for good holiday parties aside, the fact that it's on a cemetery seems to actually scare away a lot of buyers. I don't quite understand why, but it does. And the fact that even there's a pond in the backyard means that, the proximity to the pond scares away people because people with small kids and whatnot. And I think if those factors really affect the price of the house.
And the marketability of it.
Okay.
You're limiting your buyer pool.
No pun intended.
Unfortunately, significantly. It was great when we bought the house. It won't be great when I try to sell the house.
Okay. Okay, so let me just explain to you what the next steps are. All right. So I will present what you have in the file here and what you shared with me to the rest of, or to the majority of the board. We will deliberate and vote on the appeal. You will be notified of the board's decisions within 7 days of the decision being made. We're really trying to get all the appeals heard and deliberated in the month of March. But we do have close to 650 appeals to hear and deliberate about. If your appeal is denied by the board, you can come back next year and reappeal. If we do make a reduction in your valuation, you won't be able to appeal again to the Board of Assessments for another 5 years. So basically the next revaluation period. Okay? Either way, if you don't agree with the board's decision, you have the right to appeal in Superior Court, and the instructions on how to appeal to the court will be included with your decision letter.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you get it by email? The mail is unfortunately slowed down.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the only way we do it is mail. So.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
And you can have a seat there.
Okay.
I will need you to sign that in a minute.
Okay.
Saying I swear you in, but only do that after I swear you in.
Okay.
Okay, I'm John Spolier. I'm one of the 9 members of the Board of Appeals.
Okay.
I'll be hearing your case tonight.
Okay.
All right. For the record, we're also recording this
Okay.
here. I just need to confirm some information.
Okay.
This is appeal number 205.
Okay.
The property address that's being appealed is 1677 Bronson Road.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay, the owners are Kathleen and Eric Paul Lang.
Correct.
All right, the town has valued the property at $827,200.
Correct.
And you're asking the town to reduce that amount to $760.
Correct.
And you are the owner?
I am.
Okay. Now I just need to swear you in.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. So tell me about the appeal.
Should I sign this now?
Yeah, you can sign it or at the end.
Okay. So we had recently bought the property. We acquired it in the summer of 2020, at which time we had done an appraisal on the property, or actually our bank had done an appraisal on the property, which I provided along with my hearing request.
And you purchased it at $758.
$758, correct. That's correct.
Okay.
So slightly below what the appraisal came in, and also fairly significantly below what the property was originally listed for when it went on the market in the previous fall. So it was on the market for about 8 months, and steadily decreased in price. I think at the time we put in the offer, it was at $779, I believe, and we wound up, the previous seller wound up accepting our offer of $758.
Okay.
Again, all of which are significantly below what the town has appraised the property for.
Okay.
So, it's our belief that the appraisal is fairly recent. It has a number of comps in the area that it used to appraise the property, and given the nature of our purchase and the time that the property was on the market, we feel that that value of $760 is appropriate for the property.
Okay.
I'll also note somewhat anecdotally that that the market at that time was incredibly hot. Everyone fleeing the cities in the midst of COVID. So with all that, and the property still being on the market for as long as it was, we do feel that for the house being sold in that type of heated market at that price is just further evidence that the true value is indeed that $760,000.
Okay. Let me just see that. Okay. There's 255 Hillside. 32. Okay. Sketch. Okay. Okay. All right. And then you have the listing as well here through that. So it was listed, when you put on the price, or when you made your offer, it was $779, correct, you said?
I believe so.
Okay, and the original list price was $800,000, it looks like.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's the 779.
Okay. All right. Anything else I should know about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we've been pleased, you know, with the home, and you know, we're happy to be there.
Okay.
You know, this was, you know, we knew this was coming up at the time of purchase, and
Yep.
we had previously lived down here in the beach area, and we're expecting, you know, a bit of a change in the assessment, just living in town for a number of years and knowing the market.
Yep.
And, you know, that shift in valuation, seeing all the developments and new homes that have been down here, we did assume you know, that there would be a shift in valuations, probably in the upward direction for homes in this neighborhood, and you know, in downward direction, or potentially in a downward direction for you know, where we had bought. And we also took into account that the previous valuation seemed much higher. I think the previous valuation for 2019 was at $980,000.
Yeah, I have that here. The previous valuation was, well, actually, the appraised was at, or no, that's the assessed. Assessed. Yeah, it was like 642, and then it went down to 579 as far as the assessments go. So that would be, the appraised value would be divided by 70. So there definitely was, it looks like, from 2019. Oh no, wait, I take that back. Did you have an informal review?
I did, yeah, I did have an informal.
Okay.
And presented the same appraisal at that time. And I think that's probably where the adjustment from 19 to 20 came down to.
Okay.
And
yeah, I do see that you had it on the 18th or so. There was a change added.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean that did result in a shift in the appraisal, and yet I think we're still of the opinion, for the reasons I stated earlier, that you know, at 827 on the appraisal is still above market, what this property should be appraised for.
Okay. All right. So let me tell you what the next steps are.
Okay.
I will present this to the majority of the board.
Okay.
We'll deliberate about it and take a vote. Okay. If we deny the appeal, you'll be able to come back next year to the Board of Assessment and reappeal.
Okay.
If we do reduce it at all, you won't be able to appeal for another 5 years. So basically the next reval period.
Got it.
Okay? Either way, if you don't like the outcome, you do have the right to appeal it in Superior Court.
Okay.
All right? And that information will be included with your decision letter that we will be sending to you within 7 days of our vote.
Okay.
Okay, time frame, we're trying to get all 600 plus appeals heard, deliberated, voted on, for the, you know, in this month of March. So if we're successful in doing that, you should hear from us at latest, you know, first week of April.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Cool. All right.
I don't envy that feat that you have ahead of you there.
Yeah, you signed the thing that said I swore at you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll sign it now.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Yep.
Good luck with the rest of them.
Thank you.
All right. Right.
You can leave that open, I gotta go down anyway, so.
Oh, yeah, no, I appreciate it. No, of course. And we're all volunteers, we're here for people, and we're not professional. So we're here to hear your take. So, there's a few things I learned. So when I heard that, well, basically what I do is just provide information for board and we all, right? So.
Let's see this after. Look at the side, if you want that.
And I was there following you.
Yes, all right, have a
What's that,
seat.
doctor?
Yep. Okay. All right, I am John Spolier. I am one of the members of the BAA. And I'll be hearing your appeal tonight. Just for the record, because we are recording this, I just want to make sure that we have some of the information correct here. So this is appeal number 281.
Correct.
Okay. Property address is 875 Mill Hill Road.
Correct.
All right. The owner is Michelle and Matthew Hudson.
Correct.
Okay, the town value is $911,400, and it's being asked to be reduced to $775,000.
That's correct also.
Okay, and you are Greg Lane of Greg Lane Property Consultant.
I am.
All right. Let me just swear you in here. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right.
So here's my sworn affidavit.
Okay, thank you.
Here is my agent certification from the homeowner.
Okay.
And here's two original appraisals, color appraisals.
Okay.
One, usually you keep, the other one they take and they scan it,
Okay.
typically. So
All right.
I just try and make it easier for the board if I can. For the record, my name is Greg Lane.
Yep.
L-A-N-E. Business address is P.O. Box 578, South Fork, Connecticut. I'm acting on behalf this evening of Michelle and Matthew Hudson, 875 Millville Road.
Okay.
Give me just to go ahead and start my spiel.
Yep, go for it.
So, first of all, I'd like to thank you, John, for your time here. Been doing this quite a few years, and I know that for not being compensated, we do thank you for being here. That's very
Thank you.
Secondly, if we start with the appraisal, you can see it's a single-family home. There is a accessory unit, which is right above the garage. You can see by the front picture.
Okay.
That was added later on in time. And So
And
then,
is that like a den, or is that an apartment, or?
there's an apartment, there's a little
Okay.
kitchenette in there,
Okay,
bedroom, kitchenette, and like a living room area.
okay,
So that was added on later in time, that is legal.
Okay.
So if we go through to the fifth page of the appraisal, page 5,
yep,
that's the first page of the actual residential appraisal report. What's important initially is that the market has been appreciating.
mm-hmm,
And I am a full-time state certified real estate appraiser, and that's what I do for a living. I appraise properties for the banks, and
mm-hmm,
so from almost this time last year when the market started to get hot, we have been using positive time adjustments. So subsequent to April 1st, 2020, we're using a 12% per year positive time adjustment, which amounts to 1% a month. In this case, with the tax appeals, seeing as the values are as of 10/1/2020,
mm-hmm,
if the sales occurred before the April 1st, then they get a 6% positive increase in their value. If the sale took place between April 1st and October 1st, then the market appreciation is then prorated at that 1% per month. But that's important just so the board understands that I am knowledgeable of the marketplace and that I'm not trying to get values down low. I'm doing what I should be doing.
okay,
So the next page are the comparable sales, but the top of that page, what's most important here, the town has a value of this property of $900,400. I'm sorry, $911,400.
mm-hmm,
They purchased this in November of 2019, so about a year, well, less than a year before the reval for $735,000, and they haven't done any work to it. And we're all wondering how they arrived at that $911,400. I do have sales within a half a mile. One is next door, 906 Millville Road. But that one house was in better shape. But if you look at the other locations, Millville Road's kind of busy. Comps 1 and 3, Carriage Drive is, with it being next to the other new construction there, not quite as good. But basically, if you take the 3 sales and if you look at the adjusted values down at the bottom, I arrived at a value of $775,000, and that's with equal reliance upon all sales. They're all within a half mile. If you want to look at the end of the appraisal, not the last page, maybe the last 2 or 3 pages, there are photographs of the comparables of where they are versus where the subject is, and you can see they're all right there, right in Southport. So we stay within that close proximity, which is important. You don't want to go onto the other side of Bronson because that's 06824. You want to stay at Southport. That's important that we did, but we don't understand. When they purchased it for $735,000, basically 11 months before the reval date, and the town decides to tack on an extra $175,000 to the property. They haven't done anything to it. Maybe paint. That's about it. So I'm just trying to bring the value so it's fair for my clients.
And let's see something here. Put that in the 775, and you said they bought it at 735.
Right, so there has been some market appreciation,
But
which basically.
you don't feel it's that much, based on your numbers of 6%,
Well, it's,
or not per month, but.
if you put 6% on the 735, you probably come pretty close to 775.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where I arrived at it, and then along with the sales, it just justifies that number.
Okay. Okay.
And I know you guys are real busy, so I'm trying to make this
Nope.
as easy as I can for you.
Okay. All right. Anything else I should know about?
No, you know,
Okay.
it's basically with a sales comparison approach, and then you could also take the purchase price, and even if you do add the 6% market appreciation, you'll come very close to that 775 number also.
Okay.
So it's basically two different methods. That number has been verified.
Okay. Okay. I gotta say this, but you probably know the drill.
I do very much.
Right, okay.
I was here this morning, I said quite a few.
Okay, so I will be, presenting the information here to the majority of the board.
I thank you.
We'll deliberate about it and vote on it. If we vote to deny the appeal, you or your clients can come back in a year to reappeal. If we do make a reduction, they can't appeal to the board for another 5 years, which is the next reassessment period. You'll be notified 7 days, or your clients will be notified 7 days after the decision has been made by the board. Regardless of the outcome, if your clients do not feel that they like the decision or are in disagreement, they have the right to appeal to Superior Court, and that information will be in the letter.
Right, I understand. Thank you, John.
All right, thank you, Greg.
So how many more do you have?
Oh, I got plenty more.
You know,
You're at the beginning of the list.
I am. I will, hopefully the rest will be even easier than mine.
No, okay.
Good luck. Thanks, John.
All right,
Nice to see
thanks.
you. Should I
Just leave it open and I'll come down and grab the next person. So, I have to be happy to see this about it. So basically, I wish at Pfizer, I think I Oh, really? Oh, really? Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. Every night's a busy night. All right. Have a seat? Sure. Oh, my God. Okay. All right. I am John Spoliar. This last time I checked. I am one of the 9 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals, and I'll be hearing your case tonight.
Okay.
All right. We're also recording it as well.
Okay.
So for the record, and also to make sure we have the right information here, I just need to go over a few things.
Please.
Okay, we're talking about appeal number 314 here.
Yes.
Okay, the property address that's being appealed is 328 Barberry Road.
Correct.
The owner is Brian C. King. Is that correct? Yep, okay. The town has valued the property at $834,400, and you are asking it to be reduced to $763,000. Okay, and you are the owner of the house?
Well, me and the bank.
What's that?
Me and the bank.
You and the bank, yes.
Right.
Okay, I just need to swear you in here. So do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, if you can sign that piece of paper there saying I swear you in, that would be great. Okay, so we have, all right, so there's, I've got some papers in the file here. Looks like your property backs up to a natural preserve.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, and then there's that you also have. Okay, so the nature preserve is overrun with fallen trees and pricker bushes, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So there's a school behind you as well?
There was giant steps, but then it was,
Okay.
and now I think the top Appraisal took over some typical school, I think.
Yep. I believe they're moving the, what's that, St. Emery's, the school there, the Walter,
Yeah, something like that.
school to that. Okay. Okay. All right. What else should I know about this appeal?
Okay, so Mr. Brown lived at 320 Barbary Road,
Okay.
and he gave half of his property to his son back in 1986, and they divided property evenly. 1.01 acre to Mr. Brown, 1.01 acre to 320 Barbary Road, which was his son.
Okay.
His son, in turn, built a house and then sold it in 1986. And then I bought it in 1987. So there's two pieces of property. They're identical. Mr. Brown to the left, I'm to the right.
Mm-hmm.
His property tax,
And this is,
Mr. Brown,
320, right?
320 Barbary Road, his property tax for his land is $465. And my identical piece of property is $540,800. There's a $75,000 difference on the land. And they're identical.
Okay. Now, do you have the 320 information there with you that you want to submit to the record?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right. Is there anything else?
So this is
Go ahead.
the property card for Mr. Brown.
Okay.
Okay. Then down the street there's a house at 107 Barbary Road. I'm 328 Barbary Road. You've assessed them at $850,600. You assessed me $834,400. There's
Okay.
a $15,000 difference.
All right. I'm sorry. The 107 Barbary
Yeah.
was assessed at what?
$850,600,
Okay.
and I'm at $834,400.
Okay.
There's a $16,400 difference. That house was totally redone in 2015. Their square footage is 3,773 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 2,570
3 square feet. The only thing I've done since I moved in 1997 is I put AC in 2004, which increased my tax by $1,000. So they're 43% bigger, but there's only a 16% difference in the values.
Okay.
And
what was the other one on Barbary? I think you had another one?
nope, just 107 and
Okay.
320. That's it. I mean, I could have done, there was a lot of houses I could have done,
Mm-hmm.
but I know it's only 15 minutes, so I just kept 2.
Okay. And were either of those sold?
The house on 107 was sold in 2015 because it's a total rebuild.
Okay.
Total rebuild. The house, Mr. Brown's house, the people living, the owner's been there since 2012.
Okay.
And,
But it hasn't been sold within the last
No.
12 to 16 months?
no.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing because I don't know much about this. Actually, I spoke to Greg Lane 2 months ago, and then I tried to call him, and he didn't answer my phone calls because he's very, 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 very busy.
Okay.
I bumped into him here. Isn't that funny? Anyway.
Yeah. Probably wondered why you didn't return your call.
No, I know.
Okay, so if I'm not sure when we'll debate about or deliberate, but if you do find any comps, comparable sales within the last 16 months or so, you can submit those for us to consider. So when we deliberate, we look at recent sales, okay, or sales in the evaluation period. So from October 1st of 2019 to October 1st of 2020, because that's what the assessment model looked at, was those sales. So if you're able to provide comparable sales in that time frame of between October 1st of 2019 and 2020, that would be great, and we can take that.
Well, there was a lot of sales.
Yeah. So if you could, let us know which ones would be, comparable that are near you.
So I had some actually.
Okay.
I don't have them here. They're in my office. My printer scanner died, and so I have a new one coming tomorrow.
Okay.
But I have them in my office because I did a lot of sales. I mean, I looked at them,
Yeah.
all the different houses, and I saw the differences. And
Okay. Well, if you can scan them in,
Sure, I can do that.
and email them to the BAA at fairfieldct.org. You could put attention John and make sure you reference appeal number 314. We can take that into consideration.
I can try to do that as soon as I hook up my machine tomorrow.
Okay.
So it's at BAA at Fairfield, spelled out?
Yep, at fairfieldct.org.
Fairfieldct.org, okay.
Okay. And again, attention John and reference appeal number 314.
Got it.
Okay.
If I didn't do that for whatever reason,
Yep.
would it have a big effect on what I just gave you? I mean,
I believe it would, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take what you give me, I'll also take those comps there, and then present it to the majority of the board, okay? And if you send in anything else after that, we'll also take it into account. So if you send comps in.
comps meaning I can go to property cards and show the house that were sold at, October 15th, 2000.
Yeah, that would be similar to your home, okay?
Similar as in style or in square footage?
Square footage, land-wise.
Okay.
Yeah, really we're looking, how did, somebody said basically, something that would be comparable to your house that you would buy today. in your neighborhood.
Correct.
Okay?
So the contrast of Mr. Brown, his 1.1 acres and mine, even though they're identical, that would have no effect on the differences, you don't think?
I don't know. I mean, we can take into effect that Mr. Brown next door, or your house is the same?
The house is different,
Okay.
but the land is because you raised my land value by
Mm-hmm.
a lot of money. The difference is $75,000 in land value.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to believe that would have an effect on my resale value, on your appraised value.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know, because the model, I mean, it's a mass, numbers and stuff like that. So, so what we can do is what I'll do is I'll take the information you
Okay,
provide,
fair enough.
I'll put it to the majority of the board, we'll deliberate and vote on it. Within 7 days of coming to a decision, you'll receive a notification in the mail as to the board's decision. Okay, if we deny your appeal, you'll be able to come back next year, okay, and appeal again. If we do make a reduction, you're not able to come back to the Board of Assessment Appeals for another 5 years, which is the next reval period, since we do this every 5 years. And either way, whatever we decide, if you disagree with that, you do have the right to go to Superior Court. And that information will be in your decision letter.
Okay. Well, this is just an outside shop. I've lived in Fairfield for 23 years. So, okay. All right, John,
All right.
thank you very much. This
Cool.
is all yours.
All right, did you sign the sheet of paper there saying
I
that
did.
you were
I did.
Okay.
First thing I did.
All right, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Hope you're going soon.
Oh, no, that's nice, still young for me. Thanks. seat. Okay. I'm John Spoliar. I'm one of the Board of Assessment Appeal members, and I'll be hearing your appeals tonight. I believe we have 2 here. Correct? Okay. We're also recording it as well. With it. Before we start, I do have one question for you. I believe it is the 114 Oyster Road. Do you have an affidavit signed for that?
I do not, but I am the owner.
You are the owner, even though it says that it's Marion Quickrill
Yeah,
Estate?
it closed maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me swear you in, and then we'll do each appeal. Okay. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Which appeal would you like to do first?
You could do Sturbridge Street, I guess.
Okay.
That's in my hand, so.
Okay. All right. So, for the record, and to make sure that we have the right information here, so we're talking about appeal number 149, correct?
Correct, and you should have information.
Yep, and this is for 239 Edward Street.
Correct.
And you are the owner, Jolyn Sullivan. The town has the value assessed at $1,346,200, and you are asking that to be reduced to $1,100,000.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the street here, or Edward Street. So, property, you say property card includes mistakes with the extra fixtures, and then you have comps provided will reveal lower market value, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the property card. What is the corrections you're looking for that should be made?
Sure, so for the extra features,
Yep.
it has me down as having an elevator. The house has never had an elevator. Does not exist.
Really? Okay.
So,
Hold on. Looks like we had the elevated change back in 2018. You raised the house up?
correct.
Okay, in 2018? All right. Right. Okay. Okay, so there is no elevator. Okay.
Okay, and then the fireplaces are listed wrong because it says one of them just says fireplace and the other one says 1.5 story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what 1.5 story means, but they're both on the same floor and they sit back to each other. For whatever reason, I see here they have the 1.5 story valued more.
Okay.
But they both should be the same. They're both on the same floor. They sit back to each other in 2 different adjacent rooms. In addition to that, I provided the value for these. They're gas fireplaces. They're not wood burning, so there's no chimney. And on one of the pages I submitted, it has a cost breakdown with examples of...
For a second. So, did you send in the information today?
Yeah, the lady said she scanned it in the system.
Okay, so let me go to that here so I can take a look. That would make sense why I'm not seeing it in the file here. Okay, it didn't make it in. I'm only seeing 3 pages. Is that coming?
This is the same thing that they scanned, so I can
Okay.
give this to you.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
So the gas burning fireplace is back to back. Just basically one's on one side of the wall and the other's on the other, right?
Exactly. One of them is vent-free, it's a ventless one, and the other one is vented just with some, piping that goes out the side of the house.
Okay.
And then on the sheet in your hand, you'll see a cost breakdown. So those are brand new units. I pulled them off the internet today. They're equivalent to what I have.
Okay.
In fact, out of the 2 units I have, one was existing, so that thing's, I think, 20 years old. And the other one I put in when we did the remodel in 2017, 18.
And then we have comps here with the last sale date. Okay, comparable square footage and lot size. Year built, percent good. And the sales amount, okay. Okay. And then there's the elevator. Okay, and then you've got the list of the printouts of the comps.
Correct.
Here. Okay.
We'll see those 5 comps are right in the neighborhood. They're right within a quarter mile. 2 of them are within a couple blocks.
Mm-hmm.
All equal size. You'll see, because I averaged all the comps, and you'll see that lines up to the subject property.
Mm-hmm. And that's where you have is that how you came up with the 1.1 million?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And then, of course, the mistakes on the card.
Yep. Okay. Let me just put a note here. Okay. All right. Anything else that I should know about?
No, I think if you read those first 2-3 pages, it's pretty clear and outlined. I mean, if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer it, but
Okay.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. And you have the insert. Okay. All right.
So there's literally no masonry. There's no chimney, nothing. So.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Cool. I don't think I have any other questions on this one. Okay. All right. And did you have an informal hearing or not?
Yeah, I did. And I didn't get a letter.
Okay. All right.
They may have, I couldn't tell you if they reduced it or not.
Okay. It looks like they might have, so maybe about like 35,000, it looks like they might have done that. So.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion is still the value is 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same opinion I had at that informal hearing.
Okay.
I did a little more research and put more time into it, obviously, to prepare for this meeting.
Yep.
So I think,
And with the comps and everything like that, yep. Okay. All right. Let me just make a note of that. Okay, so the next property we'll discuss here is appeal number 151. And this is the property that is being appealed is 114 Oyster Road. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I have here the estate of Marion Quipquill. Is that how you pronounce the last name?
Yeah, that was the previous owner.
Okay. And you purchased it when? Like 2 weeks ago the sale went through?
Yeah, I think it was, March 4th. March.
But early March, right?
Yeah, it was definitely in March.
Okay. Okay, and the town value is $572,700, and you're asking it to be reduced to $570,000, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, my understanding is this is the value as of, was it October 31?
October 1st of 2020.
Yeah, so, I mean, I paid more than what I'm saying here, but that was, 2 weeks ago, so,
Okay.
I don't know exactly how to present that, because that was 2 weeks ago, and this is asking for a value then.
Okay. Okay, Oyster Road. Does this one also have card mistakes, you said?
Yeah, and, right, so let me give you this.
Okay.
As well.
All right, thank you. Okay. Okay, so you have the recent survey down here. Oyster Road.
So the biggest difference there is that the building value is way too low and the land value is way too high. The survey revealed that the property is smaller than what the town has the property listed at.
Okay, so it's basically a .02 acre difference, it looks like here.
0.02 on the total acreage,
Okay.
but then it gets further reduced by .03, I believe, whatever it says on that document, because it part of the backside of the property falls within the state title wetlands area.
Okay.
So because of that, that portion of the lot is not attributable to the building calculations when you do the survey.
Okay, so that part of lot is wetlands?
It's within the regulated state title wetlands. And the surveyor wrote a little note, I gave you a copy of the email, where he basically said what the survey shows, but he put it in a narrative.
Okay, so he's got the acres here of .309, and then .033 is loss of use for the wetlands.
Right.
So the usable property is 2.76. Existing allowed. Okay. And you said wetlands, and you've got the survey here. All right. And how much did you purchase the house for?
It closed at $640.
Okay. And where, or when did you bind or agree to go to binder?
I believe it was the end of December.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around the end of December.
Okay. All right. So I do see the condition here on the land line as 0.95. So there's a little bit of discount that the town gave for the land, just to let you know.
Yeah, I think they did that for anyone that abuts the marsh maybe,
Yeah, that's what it says is marsh here with the notes.
but, you know, my viewpoint on it is that you look at it for building, you know, resale and building value, and it's a significant difference. And I did the calculations there, that how it rolls out for lot coverage and for floor area.
Okay.
I also gave a copy of my insurance binder, so they show that, you know, I know that that's a new replacement value.
Yep.
Right, so obviously it's going to be higher, but it's, you know, more than 3 times higher than the dwelling value. I mean, there's just no way that value of the building is, I think it's, if I go by memory, I think it's 88,000. Whatever I have written there.
Yeah, and you have that here. Insurance has values that are 3 times the value of town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, I know that you get taxed on the total value, and the delta that I'm asking for isn't that different. But, so you gotta ask, well, why is it important to me? I mean, it's important to me to get it right, because the land value isn't accurate. You know, the survey proves that. So the land value should drop, and the building value should come up.
Okay, yep.
And then being that, you know, the location, it limits what you could do. If I wanted to do an addition, you're restricted because they base it off of the dwelling value. So the dwelling value really needs to be accurate.
And that's the lot coverage existing versus allowed, correct?
Yeah, but even just the value of the improvement, right? The value of the house needs to be accurate, because when you file permits to do an addition, there's a calculation on the budget you could spend, and if you go over a certain amount, you have to
Raise that.
make it FEMA compliant.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a simple rule to follow, but the numbers need to be right on the value of the dwelling.
Okay.
And there are some minor inaccuracies on the card. I don't think it's going to move the building value a ton, but like it mentions carpet and there's hardwood. I don't think that's a big difference either way.
Okay.
I believe it has the basement is half finished, but it's more than that. It's basically completely finished. And then it has, you know, 1.5 baths, but there's a shower, so I think that should be 2.
It has a shower but not a tub?
Right.
Okay.
I don't think that's considered a half. I think it's considered a full, but I don't know.
I think it would be 1 3/4.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I'm just saying that that looks a little off that way. But I don't think it'll move the value a ton. But I think the biggest move on the value is the land, because the land is definitely worth more than the building. But when you adjust for the land, the building value should go up.
Yeah, it says here that there was some kind of remodeling done because of Sandy, but back in 2013, but nothing's been done since then, right?
Well, I can't speak to that because I don't know.
Okay. All right, anything else?
but I don't know.
You just moved in or bought it, so, okay. All right, so here's what will happen next is for both of these. I will take the information you provided and also the information you shared. I will present that to the majority of the board. We'll deliberate about it and come to a decision and make a vote. Okay. Within 7 days of that decision being made, you'll receive a notice in the mail what the decision is. If we deny the appeal, you have the right to come back next year and appeal again. If we do make any type of reduction, you won't be able to appeal to the Board of Assessment Appeals for another 5 years. So basically until the next revaluation period. Again, if we do reduce the values. Either way, if you don't agree with the board's decision, you do have the right to go to Superior Court and appeal there. That information will be included with the decision letter from the board. Okay? Timing-wise, our goal is to hear all 600 plus appeals during the month of March, deliberate and vote on it. So if we do get to that goal, the latest you would hear back from us is in April, beginning of April.
Okay.
Okay?
What's the, when do you think you'll deliberate on this? A week out, 2 weeks, 3?
I don't know. I wish I could give you a timeline. Because what we'll do is we try to deliberate in the areas all at once. So like the beach area we'll talk about, together. So when things come up, we can have comparables and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Oh, you need to fill these out? Or?
Yeah, you need to fill those out. Just saying I swore at you, basically, and. Go from there. Okay. Okay, great. All right, thank you very much.
Great, no problem. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
It's a great service.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one. All right, come on in.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'm John Spoliar. I am one of the 9 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals, and I will be hearing your appeal today. And this is also being recorded that we have here. Let me just make sure the green light's on. Yes, it is. Okay. So for the record, as well as making sure I've got the right information, we're talking about appeal number 17 here.
Yes.
Okay, and the property that's being appealed is 108 Southport Terrace.
Correct.
The owner is town has the value at $690,800, and you're asking that to be reduced to $320,000, correct?
That's incorrect.
Okay.
The town has it valued at $483,560.
483. How much? 483. It's on
Yes,
the
it's
thing.
right here.
Yep.
So the town has it valued at $483,560.
Okay, and you're asking that it go down to 320.
Correct.
Okay. And you are the owner?
Yes.
Okay.
And my husband is. So I have his affidavit.
Okay, that's good. You
Okay,
can
I'll put it
leave
here.
that there. All right. So I just need to swear you in real quick here. So do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So tell me about the appeal here.
So, should I sign this form first?
Yeah, you can do that now. You can do it at the end.
Let me do this
That's
now.
fine.
Okay, so I drop off the file. So you have this?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so basically what I'm going to add is I'm going to add this map,
Okay.
which basically shows my lot highlighted in green.
Okay.
And the lot number 1 that I'm using as a comparable, I have 5 comparables. So the first comparable that I'd like to talk about is the one that is just across the way within the same community called Heather Ridge. And that is 70 Meadow Ridge, just again across the way.
Okay, 70 Meadow Ridge, okay.
Which is a few feet away from my land. So
Okay.
that particular land is bigger than mine. Mine is 1.11. Okay.
Yep, and that's 1.17.
And
Yep.
then that's big. So that particular lot actually had its assessed value dropped about $10,970,000, where mine was assessed, to 42. It was assessed in an increment of 42,000 and 70,000. So my lot went up about $43,000, and that particular lot decreased $11,000.
Okay.
So my point is that it is a bigger lot, okay, and it's just across the way. The second comparable that I'd like to take is 361 Cross Highway, PID 14185. That is a larger lot of almost 2 acres, 1.92 acres. And that lot is valued at $195,440, and I've seen a decrease of about $42,000. To be precise, it decreased $41,580. That sale of that lot was within the assessing evaluation, which was sold on 6/26/20.
And is that an empty lot as well?
Yes, so I'm a realtor, and what I did look at is I looked at land, empty land. I want to make sure, and I thank you for bringing that. Those are empty lots. So, the other property that I'd like to also mention is 1407 Reading Road, PID 17329. That is over 2 acres. That's 2 acres and 16 to be exact. That's seen a decrease in value of about $35,490. Now remember, mine, which is much smaller, about 1 acre and 11, has seen an increase of almost $43,000. So that particular lot sits on 2.16 acres. It was valued by the town at $278,320. Okay, so and then there's two more lots that I'd like to talk about. The next one is 100 Mine Hill Road, PID 108253. That has been assessed at $441,070, and that sits on 2 acres, so double than my property. That sale of this land was dated September 10, 2020. Again, that sits within the criteria of the assessment period. And the last lot that I want to talk about is 1019 Mill Hill Terrace, which is basically down the road. So Southport Terrace crossing is crossing with Mill Hill Terrace. So it's really the road perpendicular to us.
Okay.
And that was basically assessed with a reduction of almost $100,000. That's assessed at $240,660, and that sits on a lot of 0.25.
Okay,
that
so about
sale,
a quarter of your lot.
Yeah.
Correct.
That sale was basically in October of 2019, October 25th. So what I did is, to be fair, I took the average of 70 Meadow Ridge, 361 Forest Highway, 1407 Reading Road, 100 Mill Hill Road, and 1019 Mill Hill Terrace. I took the average, and the average is about 318,698. So one-way Southport Terrace, my land, again is a vacant land of 0.11, and it's smaller than 70, Meadow Ridge. That is just a few feet away, and it has a 17 acres. With that in mind, these are also the past sales of larger land and properties of 2 acres. We believe that the property that we own at one-way Southport Terrace should be considered and assessed at $320,000.
Okay.
And this is the map that I have right here.
Okay, yep. If you can
I'll
move
give
it there,
this-
I'll come get
Should
it.
I just put this here?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you've got here in the packet, you have the closing information of the
Okay.
comp.
Yeah. So I just want to point out to you, if you look at this little card,
Okay, this is for...
for one-way Southport Terrace, the land is 1.11, not 1.12.
Okay, hold on for a
So,
second here. The
It's,
land is...
when you go under the summary, my sheet right here,
Oh,
my
that
sheet right
one.
here, this one.
Yeah. Okay,
See,
yeah.
it's reading 1.11, which is what this little card shows.
Okay, but yet on the card, because I have here that it is 1.113 acres.
This is what I have, 1.11.
Okay.
Okay?
Question for you.
Yes, please.
It looks like there's some kind of restriction on your land. Are you aware of that?
No, there's no restriction.
Okay, because it says here that there's it says undeveloped restrictions. I wonder if it means undeveloped restrictions. Let me take a look at something here.
The restriction that I think about is part of the homeowner association. That's the restriction.
Oh, okay.
You just cannot build anything you want. You have to go through a board of appeal or whatever, not appeal, but a board member to have plans approved.
Okay.
It doesn't, the land itself, that's what I think about. What do you think the element is? What did you think of that?
I don't know what it is. Let me just double check and see if I can find
That would be great if you can tell me, because I don't know.
what that means, because that seems...
I don't see it in the field card, but...
Yeah, on the field card, it's on the first page at the bottom where it says landline valuation section.
Yeah, it says assessed value, appraised value, size, depth, landline valuation. I have nothing.
So, okay, because on here, I'm sorry, this is 108 Southport Terrace, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, on the one I have here,
I see the land use code 13 description
Yeah.
residential.
No, it's not that, but it's, or is that the,
So, but if that is correct, which of course you know I don't, that would actually reduce the land value even furthermore.
well, it looks like that they have, given the condition of it, a 0.9 rating versus a 1.0, with it. So, let me see, where did it go? Shoot.
Take your time.
So it might be
The owner
the
association,
homeowners association,
that's
because
what I'm
that
saying.
would make sense.
but also the other lot across the street at 70 Meadow Ridge is also has to be the same, because it's all part of the private community,
Okay,
which is right here.
yep, okay. Let me just see if there's anything else. You have a 214 Alden Street here that's residential land for sale. That's not
No, you're confusing with the other, that's not for 108 Southport Terrace, that's for 378 and 394 Penfield.
Oh, okay.
That's another land. So this is, if you
Oh,
want-
so this packet applies to several appeals?
yeah, so this is
Okay.
a comparable one that we
Yeah.
can leave with you.
Okay,
They're all land, okay?
Okay.
All land, I compare land to land.
okay,
So make sure your 108 Southport Terrace is separate from 378. You will see at the top, the property address
yep,
and the comparable. If you have another sheet like this, which you should have,
okay.
it's my other properties already went through the appeal
Okay,
and the hearing, so don't worry about that. I went with
Okay.
Harold.
Harold, okay,
Yeah, so tonight we're just going to talk about this
Yep.
property, that's all, nothing else. So
okay,
again, if you look at the MLS listing and the land sales, I'm going to leave with you, there's a map right
okay,
here. So again, the average of the property, both lands,
okay,
average about 380,690. That's why my price came out to 320.
20. Okay. All right, is there anything else that the board should know about?
No, besides my gratitude.
Okay,
I'll be
thank
here.
you. So since you've been through this with Harold, you know what's coming next is my guess. So I will take this information to the majority of the board. We'll deliberate about it and come to a decision. You'll be notified within 7 days after that decision is made. Okay?
Okay.
And if we deny the appeal, you'll have the right to come back next year and appeal. If we do make a reduction in the value, you can't appeal for another 5 years, which is the next revaluation period. Either way, if we deny it or we do make a reduction, you do have the right to appeal in the Superior Court, the board's decision, and that information will be in with your decision letter from the board.
Sounds good.
Okay?
So what I would like to include in the document, and I want to make sure that nobody is fixing things up, because Alden is not in that
Okay.
folder.
Yep.
And the other, I just want to make sure that there's no mixed information, because everything should be clear and summarized in one page. So again, 108 Southport Terrace, I will give you the land comparable,
Yep.
and I'll give you the map.
Okay, great. And we'll add that to the file.
Yes. If you could make a note that those are land, as it
Okay.
says right here, it's really important.
Okay. Yep, I'll
Okay.
make that in the note, yep.
So that goes with 108 Southport Terrace.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. And then did you correct that? Obviously, it's not 112, it's 11.
1-1,
But
yeah.
it stays
Yep,
right
I
here.
got a note here about that.
You want, maybe we do this as a
Okay.
piece of evidence, just want to make sure
Okay,
it's right here. 11.
okay.
Thank
Great.
you so much
All
for
right,
your time. Is
thank
there
you.
anything else that I need to do?
Nope, you're good.
All right, perfect. And this is my file, my phone right here.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful evening.
Yep, you too.
Really appreciate it. And this is your pen. Thank you so much, John.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
Yes, thank you. All right, have a good night.
You
Oh,
My next one's here.
Yes,
You
you
have two. I have two?
you were actually double booked,
Oh.
so.
Do you want me to help with that one?
Well, you're gonna take Old Mill Road and you'll have Mill Hill Terrace. So I'm gonna
Okay.
seal, file number 612,
All right.
if that's fair.
Is that the thicker one?
Oh,
Perfect. I guess I won option for
I
dinner.
guess. All right, so I have Reynolds and he has Andrew, right?
Right, because Mr. Logan's not here, he had at 8 o'clock as well. But
Okay.
that person's not here, so.
All right.
All right?
All right, let me come down and get,
Well, do you want me to get it for you?
no, I got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Ready to go right in here.
Okay. Did you get one? You're one of the, you're double booked on another, oh. The other board, I'm sorry, the other board member, you cut me,
Okay. Oh,
so I'm just kind of throwing it out. So, isn't it crazy? I know. In a while.
more bad memories.
I know. And you need to borrow, right?
John,
I'm just doing this for you.
Oh, please do. All right. There you go, have a seat there. All right. File. All right. 20. Okay. Have you sign that in a minute. All right, so I am John Spoliar. I am one of the 9 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals, and I'll be hearing your appeal tonight. We're also recording it as well. So just for the record, and also make sure we have the right information, the appeal number is 211, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. The property that is being appealed is 520 Mill Hill Terrace.
Correct.
All right. The owner is Andrew Nixaji.
Very good attempt, yes, it's Nick Saji.
Nixaji, okay. All right, the town value has it at 594,000, and you're asking it to be reduced to 505,000, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you are the owner?
I am.
Okay. I just need to swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, so tell me about the appeal here.
Well, I'd like to just first of all state that on the field card,
Okay.
it states that my residence is 190 South Portwoods Drive. That is, I used to own that property, but I just sold it. So I just wanted to make it clear that I live at 520 Mill Hole Terrace.
Okay.
It's an owner-occupied residence. I just don't want anybody thinking it's some type of an investment property or that I own tons of properties, and this is one of many that I'm renting out.
Okay.
This is my only home in the period, in Fairfield or anywhere else for that matter. I have lived, my parents lived at this home at 520 Mill Hole Terrace, and my mother was the last owner of it, and she passed away a few years ago. So I officially took ownership of the house in 2020.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like here that it was 10/7/2020 was when it went through.
Yes.
And your mother was Dorothy?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And so as part of the process of settling her estate, there were multiple heirs. So as part of the process, I purchased the house from the other heirs.
Okay.
And became full owner of it. And as part of that process, I had two private appraisals done on the house during the base period for this new town assessed value. And one of the appraisals came in at $500,000, right on the mark. And the other appraisal came in at $510,000. And
so you split the difference, that's how you got the 505?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it occurs to me that the town value is, significantly different. I don't want to bore you with, percentages or differences, but it's just markedly different from the two private appraisals. And that's the basis for my appeal. In fact, the two appraisal values are lower than the town's fair market value done 5 years ago.
Okay.
Which was $555,000. They're even coming in lower than that one.
Okay, so the appraisal. Okay.
And the other point I wanted to make is that it is tough to find comparable houses to mine because it's a 2-bedroom ranch. And, throughout the whole process of acquiring it in the year 2020, I spoke with several real estate agents about it. And, 2-bedroom ranches just are not considered that desirable. Most people want a minimum of 3 bedrooms. And so I think that was taken into consideration in the two appraisals that I had done, but I'm not sure that was taken into account in the vision appraisal.
It's interesting to note here that the appraisers, and maybe I can answer my own question here. So the top one here was done. When was that? Okay, the dents here.
One of them was done in November of 2019.
Okay, and that was the one by Thomas, it looks like?
No, the Thomas O'Donnell was done in early January
Of
2020.
2020, okay.
Somewhere around the 8th or 9th.
Okay.
The date's on there, but sometimes what you're looking for is pretty buried.
Yes, okay, and then the effective date of the other one by Ali de Bonaventura
Right.
was done in November of 2019.
Right. So I was careful to note that they're both, within the base period.
Not only that, but they're fairly close to each other.
Right.
As far as timing goes.
Yeah, it's less than 2 months.
Yeah. Okay. What I find interesting is that they used, even though they were within 2 months of each other, they use different comps, I think.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
As I said, it's tough to find comps for my house.
For two-bedroom ranch, correct?
In my greater neighborhood, I'm not aware of anybody who has a 2-bedroom home.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right.
And that's the essence of my appeal. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay, yep, based on the appraisals.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else I should know about to take to the board?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So the next steps will be is that I'll present the information that we have and what you shared with me to the majority of the board. We'll deliberate, we'll take a vote, and come to a decision. Okay. If within 7 days of coming to that decision, you'll be notified via mail of it. So if we deny your appeal, you'll have the right to come back next year and appeal to the board again, okay? If we do make a reduction, you won't be able to appeal to the board for another 5 years. So basically the next reval period is when you'd be eligible to. Either way, if you disagree with the outcome of the board's decision, you do have the right to go to Superior Court and appeal there. And that information will be included with your decision letter. Okay?
Now, when you deliberate, is it either you agree with my fair market value or yours, or do you ever compromise?
Okay, so we could deny, we could grant in full, which would be to go with the number you provided, or we do have the option to say grant in part, okay, which would be somewhere between that. Okay, so if we grant in full or grant in part, then that, considered, for the 5-year waiting period to deliberate again.
Okay, so it is possible that somebody on the board could say, well, let's take the average of the towns and the 2 private ones.
We could do that. I mean, what would happen is eventually somebody would make a motion for a different number than what's being asked for.
So that does happen?
That does happen, yeah. Okay. Okay, as far as timing goes, we're trying to hear all 600 plus appeals during the month of March, deliberate and vote. So if we do meet that goal, the latest you would hear back is first week of April.
Okay, by mail?
By mail, correct, yep.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, I appreciate, did you sign the piece of paper that I swore at you?
I did not.
Okay.
I hope you're not Irish, having to work on this.
No, I'm not, but that's okay.
I believe I put in the date where you're supposed to sign
That's
by
okay.
accident.
We'll work around it.
I did not sign for you, though.
Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Right, good night.
Good night.
Leave the door open?
Yep, that's fine. Thank you. Hi, Charlie. This is John Spolier. I'm one of the members of the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Hi, was it John?
Yes, it is.
Oh, awesome. Great. Thanks for calling.
No problem. Sorry, I'm running a little behind here. Okay, so I will be hearing your appeal tonight.
Cool.
And it's also being recorded. But what I do need to do for the record is also make sure that we got the right information here. So we'll be talking about appeal number 313. The property that is being appealed is 86 Fawn Ridge Lane, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The owners of the property are Charles and Deborah Reynolds.
Yes.
Okay. The town has a value of $687,600, and you're asking that to be reduced to $642,500, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you are the owner?
Yes.
Okay. So all I need to do now is swear you in. So do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Okay. So tell me about the appeal here.
Yeah, so it's my first time appealing, and it was really coincidental because I refinanced my house last year, and I had one appraisal done for TD Bank. You do the application for a refinance, they pick a appraiser, the appraiser comes and appraises the house, and then TD couldn't close the deal because, for a lot of reasons. So I went to Fairfield County Bank, nice little community bank, and had them move much more quickly than TD Bank, and they requested another appraisal. You know, they found the appraiser, they requested it, and they came back, and the two of those were both obviously different. It's in the file, and they were both done currently, and then I got the tax, assessment or the updated assessment almost simultaneously, and I said, oh, well, I just spent all this money on these, third-party appraisals, that came in the house and did, live comps, and it's their job and their license, and they did as detailed a job as they could, and they're, meaningfully different than what the town vendor thought the house was worth.
Okay.
And then I did also call out that nobody's perfect, and it's both of the appraisers missed what I think are meaningfully, as a guy who might be selling a property in the next 0 to 5 years, meaningful headwinds that would reduce the value. One's an easement across the front of the property, which reduces the available, size of the property, and the presence of wetlands, which I learned about a month after I bought the house when Marisa Anastasio let me know that I couldn't do some things on the property. So it's probably worth even less than the appraisers thought because they didn't pick up on those two key points. So I kind of figure it's not a lot of my time or hopefully your time to look at that and say, I think that's a pretty reasonable assessment appeal.
Okay. Let me just take a look here. So you've got the two things here. The refi, okay, so TD Bank and Fairfield County Bank, yeah. So let me just take a look. I just want to see the comps that they used. So one on Sturbridge, High Meadow, and Overhill Road. I'm just curious if and then you have Arbor and Barberry of 306 Barberry. And then I just want to see, oh wow, there's a few more.
Yeah, they put it on.
Okay, Twin Brooks, Reading, and Halls Highway. So now what I want to see is what did the second appraiser do here as far as the comps go. I'm just curious again to see if it's the same. No, they did really do a lot of comps. Okay, and TD Bank was done. Okay. All right, by Ali Bonaventura. Okay. And let's see, did she use any of the comps? Same comps. Looks like Barberry's the same. There's Juniper. There's one on Mill Hill Terrace, and then one on Duck Farm. She used. Okay. All right. So pretty much your appeal is based on the midpoint of these two appraisers' values, correct?
Yeah, but I'm trying to make it simple and not manage the system. I think it's, again, I've got those two factors that weren't considered, which I could make us think about and say it's probably worth something less than they had assessed.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say, look, I'm not here to make a ton of argument, but just out of the principle of it, it seems to me like the midpoint is fair.
Okay. Okay. See something here. Okay, there's that. What I do want to check, right at the beginning, of course, I missed it. The property card. Looks like on the property card, just to let you know, there is no indication of wetlands. So just.
Well,
yep.
Well, look, among us, it's a funny story. So I bought the house. I was doing some work right after I bought it. my neighbor complained to the town of Fairfield Wetlands or Inland Water Commission. Marisa Anastasio, who was on staff at the time, came out in her little truck and told me I couldn't do anything because it was within 100 feet of a water course, which I think she penciled onto my card. So I'm not really able to do much if I want to get permits to do any work.
Okay, so 100 feet of what did you say?
A water course.
Okay.
Which again wasn't on there when I bought the property, and when I went to go to pull permits and do work, she told me that it was a problem. So maybe I should keep it off the card in case I'm going to try and sell it, but whatever. It's there. I can't go into the wetlands, so.
Okay, well, I mean, usually if there's wetlands on your card, the property that's considered wetlands usually has a different condition amount, which would then, basically decrease the value of that since it's not buildable on.
Yeah. It's a very oddball property. I mean, I've got 4-foot clearance on the side lot to my property, my neighbor's property. The developer back in the 60s was not a professional in the way that we would do things today. So it's a fairly awkward property to further develop.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else I should know about that I can share with the rest of the members of the board?
Yeah, I mean, those are the big, simple magic marker levels. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Unless there's anything you think I've missed that's important or like that.
No. So here's what the next steps are. Is I will take what you've submitted with the appraisals and such and the information you shared with me to the majority of the board. We will deliberate about it and take a vote and come to a decision about your appeal. Within 7 days of coming to a decision, you'll be notified by mail of what the board's decision was. If the board decides to deny your appeal, you have the right to come back next year and appeal again. If we make a reduction in your value, you aren't able to appeal for another 5 years, which is basically the next revaluation period. Okay? Regardless of the outcome, if you disagree with what the board decided, you do have the right to appeal in Superior Court. Okay? And that information will be in with your decision letter. Okay.
Fantastic.
All right. As far as timing goes, we're trying to get through all 650 appeals, to hear them, debate about them, and vote on them during the month of March. So if we are successful with doing that, the latest we would hear on a decision would be first week of April. Okay?
Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you. We need all the luck we can get with that. So.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Charlie, and have a good evening.
Thanks, John. I appreciate your help.
All right, take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, is this Rita?
Yes, it is.
Hi. I feel like I'm like a DJ here. Today's your lucky day. But really, this is John Spolier. I am one of the members of the Board of Assessment Appeals. And I'm calling to talk about the appeal that you have submitted.
Okay,
name is Dave Thornton. I'm on the other telephone, and
Okay.
the girl you were speaking with is my wife. So, here we are.
Okay. So
you have an information packet in front of you, correct?
I do, but I just need to, we're also recording this. So for the record, but also to make sure that we have the right information, I just want to go through a few things. The appeal number that we have here is appeal number 67.
Correct.
Okay. The property that we're appealing is 58 Twin Brooks Lane.
Yes.
Okay, the owners are David Thornton and Rita Thornton, 50% trust each.
Yes.
Okay. The town has appraised the value at $577,200, and you're asking it to be reduced to $424,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I have both David and Rita, the owners, on the call here, correct?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay, so I just need to swear you in here. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so tell me about the appeal here. I do have a packet here. It looks like a note that says you're in Florida and cannot return to Connecticut. So we have the appeal via phone here. Okay, so tell me about it here, about the appeal.
Well, one change, and it's on the handwritten petition to you guys, assessment appeals, reason for appeal. The second line, it says, I hired a real estate appraisal company for the 2005 reevaluation of my house. That was a mistake I made. It was the 2016 reevaluation. So for some reason I was only 11 years off. But it was done in 2016.
Okay. All right. For building, okay. So you did go to the BAA 5 years ago, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And was there a change from that? Or was your appeal granted or reduced at some point?
The appeal was granted, and I don't remember what the final negotiation was. It was lowered significantly.
Okay.
That's what it was up until the reassessment. It was initially viewed at the assessment for 2019 was $294,000 even.
Okay.
And then the current one for the 2020 grand list is $404,040.
Yeah, so it went up 37%. Well, it looks like here it went up 37%, while your adjacent properties on Twin Brooks Lane average 2 to 5% increases.
Yes.
That's what you say? Okay. All right.
Not to take the bull by the horns, but this is relatively academic, I think. This street, Twin Brooks Lane, is by Oakmont Cemetery. There's, I think, 13 or 14 houses on the street, and they're all the same age, roughly.
Yeah.
So I included, I think it's 6 or 7 houses on Twin Brooks Lane on the same side of the street as mine, so those are the comps. And I mean, you can't get any more comfortable than the people, my neighbors, who have been there since 1959, a lot of them like myself. But the big thing that kind of gets me is that this house was built in 59, and I have a 67 motorcycle, I have a 70 Jaguar. I got my same beautiful life for the last 40 years. I don't change. And we never changed the house. That house was where I grew up. And it's got everything original. I mean, the toilets from 1959, same toilets. The same with the showers. The same with everything in the house. Everything is the same. There's no central air conditioning. There's no redoing anything like a lot of people do to their property. It's just the way it was. So it's being kind of, in my view, assessed that it's a Ferrari as far as, a valuable property. But it's an old Chevrolet, and it's even higher than the surrounding properties, which are, have all the bells and whistles.
Okay, I want to just take a look at the file here. Okay, so you're basically doing your comparables to your neighbors here. Were any of the houses sold within the last 12 to 16 months or so?
No, and you know why? Because they couldn't get the price they wanted.
Okay. Were any on the market?
They were on the market. And again, this is an older neighborhood. I'm an old guy. And a lot of the people who were there, died, and then people, they put it on the market. And a lot of these houses, none of these houses sold in the last 18 months as Houston. They tried to sell them, but it just didn't fly.
Okay. Okay. All right. Because, okay, well, if you're able to do some research and find something that's comparable to your house that was, comparable to your house that sold in the last 12 to 16, 18 months, that would help us with the determination.
Well, I can't. I unfortunately, as we speak, I'm in Florida now, and we came down and have been down here for a little while. So, and I just can't go back to Connecticut, even if I wanted to. They're going to shoot me or, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. So I don't have the resources to do that.
Okay. All right. So, is there anything else that I should know about to present to the board, the rest of the members of the board?
Well, I think that, I know that, prices on real estate go up and down, and then, allegedly now, they're going up like the stock market, But, I don't understand how my house went up. I mean, it went through the roof as far as now it's being worth almost $600,000.
The windows are the original windows from 1959. The house nothing's been changed in that house.
So we have the original, people who had Ferraris or nice cars or whatever. We have the original gravel in the driveway. We're the only house in the street with the original gravel. Everyone else has got paved. So I have nothing else to add other than this. Just, you probably have it number one, but you see what my neighboring houses on the street, what they were assessed at, and in comparison, and they got everything, you know, swimming pools, central air conditioning, the center, all kinds of stuff. But one to toss out, when you report this to the full board, is one property is 14 Twin Brooks Lane, and that was a house that they were trying to flog within the 14-month period. That's name. And I'm sure there are a couple of realtors on the board. They'll be familiar with it. That was one that they couldn't give away, and they were trying to get even less than what my house is valued at now. And this is all kinds of stuff, central air conditioning, I mean, up the yin-yang.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and it was valued, they were selling for less than your property? You said?
They were trying to sell it for less than my property, and it's just they couldn't give it away.
Okay. Okay, so, what's that?
What's that?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we are finished.
Yep, I just need to let you and Rita know what the next steps are here. So what I will do is I'll take the information you presented and what you shared with me tonight to the rest of the board, or at least the majority of the board. We will deliberate and make a vote on a decision. Okay? Within 7 days of making the decision, you'll be notified via mail what the board's decision was.
Okay, well that's fine.
Okay.
And my wife, she's just been banging me on the arm. Just to mention that we're in a flood zone. It's Twin Brooks Lane, so we're surrounded by flood zones. So, and we never have flood, but I don't know if that is a reason.
I do notice on your card here that under the land section, they do have the condition of the land is 0.95 instead of a standard 1.0. And it looks like they have a note here about a river. So I'm assuming the river runs right by your property. Is that correct?
It is the dividing line between my property and the property on the other side of the river. All of the houses that you're using, I use as comps, all share that river.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so
if I was back in Connecticut, or could have been, I would have, because I did it, in 2016. I got, an independent appraisal guy come out, and he went from stem to stern in the house. He walked around, he poked his head everywhere else,
yep.
And he came up with his assessment. And I would have done that this year if I could come back to Connecticut and get somebody, but so it's, I don't know what information, they're using dated information to make an appraisal. Certainly in my case, I think it's a gross overreach as far as valuation.
Okay.
On that,
go ahead.
Of that.
So, just to let you know what the next steps are, so I mentioned that I will share the information you provided. We'll deliberate, you'll be notified of the decision. If we deny the appeal, you'll be able to appeal next year to the Board of Assessment. If we do grant any type of reduction, you won't be able to appeal within the next 5 years, so basically until the next reassessment. So there's that. Regardless of the outcome, you will have the ability to appeal in Superior Court if you disagree with the board's decision, and that information will be included with your, with the decision letter from the board. We are trying to hear all 650 appeals, deliberate on them, and vote on them during the month of March. So if we are successful at doing that, the latest you'll hear back would be the first week of April. Okay?
Yeah, that is fine, and I'm kind of familiar with the process. I was on the board of assessment appeals going back, 5.5 years ago. So I know that the shtick is good, and I understand you only got 600 appeals, huh?
Yeah, just 650. So
you can do that by Friday.
yes, exactly. So,
Okay.
all right, thank you very much, guys.
Okay, have a good night.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, last one.
Hi, this is Sue.
Hi, Sammy. My name's John Spolier. I'm with the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind tonight.
No, not a problem. I imagine it's a lot on your plate tonight.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I'm John Spolier. I will be hearing your appeal tonight. I'm one of the 9 board members of the BAA. And this is also being recorded as well, just to let you know. So there's a few things I need for the record, as well as to make sure we have the right information here.
Sure.
Okay? All right. So the appeal number that we have here is 309. The property that is being appealed is 66 Mill Hill Road. Correct? All right, and I apologize, I'm going to probably butcher your name, but the owner is Sumati Nadkani?
Yes, correct.
Okay. The town value of the property has been appraised at $488,100. And you are asking that it be reduced to $318,000, correct?
Correct.
All right. And assuming you are the owner?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. All right. All I need to do is swear you in. So, do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right. Okay, so tell me about the appeal here.
Sure. So to give you a little background, I bought the house at the end of 2016 for the 318, and when I bought it, it was in disrepair at the time, and there's been no updates since then, so it's still in disrepair. It still has a lot of work that needs to be done, and so what I did was I went and took looked at some comps. So I submitted about 10, 11 comps from the last year and a half based on the basic requirements that match my house. So 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, more or less the same square footage in the Southport area. And the range that I saw was about $88,000 to $380,000 for sale value. And the most applicable comp that we submitted was 132 Pequot Ave that recently sold in August for just below asking price at $387,000. And that's about pretty much the same as our home, a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. So that's pretty much what the market value we're seeing is. In addition to that, kind of to compare to these comps, our house is actually in a much less valued location compared to the comps that we submitted. So it's right next to a condo complex that I submitted. Also a little map that shows where it is. It's kind of triangulated by I-95, the condo complex, and train tracks, and at the four-way intersection, or right on the corner. So it has, diminished curb appeal, so diminished property values compared to the comps, increased traffic, increased sound and noise pollution. So we feel that even based on the comps we submitted, we're somewhat lower than that threshold or that range. So obviously, what I'm saying is that I think that considering it's in further disrepair than it's when I bought it in 2015, that the market value should still be, the same 318 that it was when it was first assessed.
Okay. Just making notes here.
Sure.
Okay, all right, so I'm just going through the file right now. So you have all the sales information for your comps in here, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let me just take a look. Okay, so definitely got that. Okay, and then you have like the summary, it looks like, at the end by your field card. Okay. So I'm just looking to see here. Looks like you had an informal hearing, but no change based on that. It looks like that there was, did you go to before the BAA in 2016?
That was when I bought it. So at that time, I brought the sale price and submitted information about the state of the house, which is the same, if not even worse now, and just resubmitted the appraisal at the time.
Okay. So back to this, okay. All right. And I do see that the land condition has a factor of 0.9 versus the standard 1.0 with a note about the highway, just to let you know.
What's that, what does it mean?
So it seems like they're giving you a 10% discount on the land value because of your proximity to the highway.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'm also right next to a condo home and train track, so.
Okay. All right. Okay, I don't have any other questions. Is there anything else that I should know about to share with the board?
No, I think that is it. Appreciate your time. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay.
If anything you missed or any gaps, then I'm happy to follow up.
Yep. So let me just tell you what the next steps are. So I will present to the majority of the board the information you've provided as well as the information you've shared with me.
Okay.
Okay. We will deliberate about the appeal and we will take a vote as to if we deny, grant in full, or grant in part your appeal. Within 7 days of a decision being made by the board, you will receive the board's decision via mail.
Okay.
Okay. A few other things. If we do, or if your appeal is denied, you do have the right to come back next year and appeal to the Board of Assessment. If we do grant a reduction, you won't be able to appeal for 7 years. Or not 7 years, 5 years, basically the next revaluation period. Okay. And then the last thing to let you know as far as the process goes is if you disagree with the board's decision, you do have the right to appeal in court, and that information will be included with the decision letter. Timing-wise, last thing and I'll let you go. timing-wise, we're trying to get through all 650 appeals during the month of March. That's hearing the appeals, deliberating, and voting on them. So if we are successful at doing that and meeting that goal, the latest you'll hear back from us would be first week of April. Okay?
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks so much for your time.
All right.
And,
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye. This is John Spoliar. It is now 8:57. I'm sorry, 8:37. Oh my God, I'm losing it, people. Okay, let's try that again. Take two. This is John Spoliar. It is now 8:53 p.m. and I'm closing this session of Room 2 for appeals of the Board of Assessment Appeals. Thank you.